Story 1. Golden child takes MY drinks without asking if it's okay to do so. Not from the US or Europe. So while English is still the main language I choose to speak, I'm still struggling to structure my sentences properly. Forgive me for the errors made here. For context, he's the youngest son in the family and my parents tends to brush off whatever he does with the excuse of, we'll replace it. Well, my dad has stopped enabling that behavior for a couple of years. He moved in with his family to my parents' home after failing to make it big in Australia. My siblings forced him to come back after finding out he demanded $10K from our mother who is retired and has a stroke. It's a 5-room flat, so my sister was kicked out of her room and had to occupy the slightly smaller study room until they moved out earlier this April. My husband and I plus our baby is currently staying with my parents while waiting for our house to finish being built. They stayed about a year plus and it was a nightmare with them over. In that span of time they were here, they complained about my son who either needed to be soothed back to sleep or just refused to sleep while attempting putting their newborn to sleep. Granted, I do feel guilty about that. Then they attempted to kick me, my husband and son out of the house when the 2 boys had COVID. It only lasted a day for them. And I tried to rationalize it since, they have 2 kids. One was a year old and the other about 2 or 3 months. Anyway, this pissed off the eldest who came down to mediate because I was already stressed out about the situation and my dad told me that, no, you're not going anywhere. He has no right to do that. Besides, we used my parents' bathroom to shower my son or when we need to use the toilet and rarely went out. This needs to be known as well that we had nowhere else to go. We couldn't go to my in-laws' place because FIL, a stroke patient, just got back home from the ICU due to COVID. So I thought we were done with that. No. There's more LMAO. When their son had HMFD, their safest bet was to get their daughter out of the house. So that was a fun week of being cooped up in the room again because not only did they allow their son to run around the house touching everything including my son's walker, they couldn't be bothered to disinfect it. Although granted, I was told it only spreads via saliva, it's safer to be cautious. First-time mom with a then 6-month-old and all that. That's fine with all those, right? It couldn't get any more worse than that, right? You thought wrong. My younger brother throws a hissy fit whenever people touches his things without his permission. His wife especially. It got to the point that they started labeling everything that is theirs in the fridge. Like no problem. But the hygiene. OMG, the amount of times they would treat this house like they own it. Refuses to clean up after themselves. Refused to clear the stove after they were done cooking. Let me tell you the amount of mold. Wriggling white maggots we would find in their leftover pastas. Face vomiting. Demanding my younger sister to cook extra for their kid to eat, and then getting upset when she makes the wrong kind of pasta LMAO. Only they can scold their son when he does something wrong at sec. But God forbid we try and pull that kind of shit on them and they go complaining, behind our backs lol, to mom and dad or to one of the other in-laws, who lets us know on the tea. Also, my nephew, first brother, borrowed my brother's bag and it got washed because it's dirty lol. Anywho, they moved out early April and the rest of us silently cheered. Especially my husband. God, he hated them. But that's besides the point. A few days ago, I bought a whole-ass packet, for small boxes, of Want milk drinks. Bought 2 packets, or 8 cartons of those delicious, sweet milk. Got the white version, less sweet, for my younger sister. She took one, the red one, and I told her that hers is the white ones, but if she wanted the red version, to at least ask me beforehand since I wanted to bring the rest to work. I forgot to bring it on a Friday, so I was like, okay, I'll bring it on Saturday. Come Saturday again, I forgot about it. But that's fine, we chill, I'll bring it on Monday. It's still inside the fridge last I check anyway. Come Sunday, I went out to go to an open house my friend was hosting. Did not check the fridge. Today I took MC or medical leave. Cause my body is aching and I've been vomiting the past couple of days. I opened the fridge to take a carton out and, you guessed it, they were missing. So of course, the first person I thought of was my younger sister. I went after her ass on the phone and she swore after the last time I told her to not touch my shit without my permission. She only took her white once. So I went to my mom and asked her if anyone had taken them. We had guests over with kids on Saturday evening. She asked me to describe them, and when I did her eyes widened and I heard her whisper, I thought your younger sister bought them. Which is like, The worst excuse you could come up with, and it still doesn't excuse anyone taking them without permission BTW. So I asked what she meant, and she said that my younger brother took them. When? When did he come back? And why? Sorry, still extremely salty about that. He doesn't even live here anymore. If he took one single carton, hey, I'm fine with that. But he took all remaining 5. I think the best part was my mom who said they, my parents, would buy it for me, and I was like, TF? Where's the logic in that? I want to know why that little sucker did that when he had the audacity to get upset when someone touches his items. So I blasted him on our WhatsApp group. My dad says he'll replace it and to start writing our names on the stuff we bought just to be safe. I replied back with, I can replace it on my own. I just wanted to know why he'd do that without asking whose it belongs to and if it was okay to take it. You don't see me waltzing into his home grabbing whatever TF we want. He doesn't even live with us anymore. Also, I might as well leave the house and rent a place instead if it means a 100% guarantee no one is going to take my things without telling me. While it is heavily cheaper to stay with my parents, I can choose to rent someplace else. My mom just refuses to let me do such a thing because I'm also her eldest daughter and baby. But that's another story for another time. First brother told me to quit it, messaged me directly, saying that the youngest of the brothers is the golden child and it is to be expected. I told him, I ain't letting our parents pull that shit on me. I'm not going to let them enable him. He's not the only one who knows how to throw a tantrum. This was spoken in the heat of the moment. I won't throw a tantrum, but I am not going to tolerate my parents enabling him further. Easily I would have just kept quiet if my dad had just stopped at "we'll investigate it." But the moment he mentioned replace, I lost all my patience. Anywho, everything's quiet as of now. No replies from my younger brother or his wife, who is a whole nother story lol, or my parents too. I'm simmering still, but not as angry. Gonna buy the drinks again if they still have it on sale later on. Thanks for reading. I've always been reading on entitled Sibling/Family but never really thought of my younger brother as one until he got married. Also, I am aware that I'm an asshole too. I'm just sick of my mother always defending his actions or enabling it. Once my mom told my younger brother jokingly to slap our youngest. After the 3rd slap and humiliating her, did our mom tell him to stop? She ran away from home for 3 days. I wonder why. This is an Asian household. I don't get why my younger brother is getting favored because our youngest sister is the most successful out of all of us. Might be because he's the youngest son. I'm extremely petty. That's why my younger sister always listens to my warnings. The last time she didn't listen to me to stop using my makeup remover when she already has one, I went and used up all of hers. She used up all of my coconut bomb makeup remover and didn't bother to close the lid. Since then, she's always heeded my warnings and would ask my permission in advance if she needs to borrow or use something of mine. I've gotten into a scuffle with my youngest brother as well, but I'm pretty sure he's got nothing inside that head of his because he's learned nothing. TLDR. Entitled Golden Child throws a hissy fit when his things gets touched without permission, ironically does the same thing but instead of just taking 1 carton, who took the remaining 5 cartons of wants. I'm upset and have been told to quit it all because it's over a drink. Edit to add. There's always drama when they're involved, so I may post again in the future but hopefully not too soon. Second edit. Some words. Also, I am planning to submit a request to HDB if you know, to get a rental on June. Update. My brother apologized in the group chat saying that he'll come down to replace my drinks. I've a feeling that he only replied because my other SILs were having a kick at my blowing up, as I'm the only other vocal one aside from my younger brother, and my older brothers probably texted him to apologize or something since the eldest had texted me first to quit it. Until I explained to him that he didn't take just one, he took everything. Anyway, I told him I'll get a new batch but to ask for permission first before he tries to search through the fridge on his next visit. My mom, I'm not sure how, but she somehow got it twisted that it was directed at her, and that I should apologize for the whole thing. No. I did tell her that me and husband moving out has been in the makings for a very long time and that it's not necessarily her fault, although she tuned out, I think, the moment I said we'd been planning to move out. I told her it's fine if she doesn't want to talk now, but once my dad comes back home, we'll all have a talk on the subject of me moving out. As for my husband, us moving out is just a way for us to work on our marriage. Since we've 2 more years before our house is completed, as per advised by my SILs, we've decided to rent a place to try and reconcile or something. Edit. My mom's not innocent in this situation, as explained by the first SIL. So she gave my brother permission to take all of the cartons without any intention to replace them, until I asked her what happened to my drinks. Because both thought it was my younger sister who had bought them initially. Again, it is not an excuse to just grab it and go off. The least that could be done was to at least ask the youngest to see if it was okay to take it. Then, maybe she could have informed them that it wasn't hers and that would have been that. They wouldn't have offered to even replace it if I hadn't found out about the whole thing in the first place. Also, she complained to the eldest son, who promptly told her she was in the wrong as well. So she's sulking right now. Comment 1. What's weird is that you took the time to write that long-ass post, thinking people here would think you'd been wronged. But all you really accomplished was to make yourself look incredibly childish, petty, and immature. So how are they entitled and not you? You don't seem any better than your family, and you should probably refrain from posting further threads of this sort. They're not the flex you seem to think they are. Answer from OP. I never said I was flexing. And yes, I know and understand that I was being immature and petty in the heat of the moment. But was I entitled to MY things? Something that was given away because, it's fine, the younger sister probably bought it, we don't actually have to ask. Do I feel wronged? Of course I do. When someone comes back to temporarily stay in the same house as their siblings and parents because they fucked up so badly on their end, made changes to a house that isn't theirs, i.e. changing showers to better suit them, throwing away things that does not belong to them carelessly, gets upset when people only happen once, accidentally took their food because the labeling is the same, finally leaves the house, it was a breath of fresh air for all of us. We didn't have to tiptoe around them anymore. But then they come back and still take things as they like without asking. TF am I supposed to do? Nod along and ignore what they did? It's not like it's the first time he has pulled this kind of crap. He waltzes in, sees something he likes, then brings it back with him. He treats our parents' house like it's a grocery and takes his sister's stuff. Uses their skincare product without ever replacing them after it's finished. It's been brewing for a very, very long time, and for me, it just snapped. So yes, I'll agree that I was being childish, petty, and immature when I blew up in the chat. But if you have the audacity to shout at others not to touch your stuff without permission, the least you could do is practice what you preach. Comment 2. The fact that your mother acted like she was scared of you when she found out that they were your drinks makes me think that you're not much better than your siblings. I feel bad for your parents who have to sort through your sibling drama and pay for the damages you cause each other. Answer from OP. Honestly, I never said I was or that we were. The only thing I could say about my mother is, with agreement from the whole other extended family including her siblings, that she's a narcissist. Everything is either she's always right or everything is about her. When she's caught with doing something she shouldn't have been doing, i.e., letting her youngest son take something because both thought my younger sister was the one who bought it, which again, does not excuse not asking for permission. OFC, she'd get upset. What I'm trying to say is that my mother isn't exactly innocent either. Neither of her daughter-in-laws, my younger brother's wife as well, likes her for a very good reason. Comment 3. I'm not trying to minimize your problems. Lord knows, I know what it's like to live with people who get on your nerves. But as an adult who desperately wants to move out of my parents' home, however, due to financial, health, and safety reasons, both for my family and myself, I can't. The second I read that you can afford to move out but don't, I immediately lost all sympathy for you. You have a viable solution. Take it. And when you move out, if anyone comes and takes anything without your or your spouse's consent, that's theft. Call the cops. Answer from OP. Edit to add. I do understand where you're coming from, however, if say I could afford it a long time ago, I would have. I should have probably have stated that in the beginning. It's not that I can afford to move out. I cannot. With the current normal rental of a minute of 2K, it's not something I or my husband could afford even with our combined money. Plus, I'm currently under a 1-year contract, so it's not a guaranteed renewal either. Which is why when my SIL informed is that there's a scheme from the government for rental, which we were previously told we were not legible for it, we decided to jump on it. We missed the April submission, so we're currently waiting for June's application to open up. The highest for the scheme is $750 per month. It's high but manageable even if I do not have a job for a while. Contract ends on October, but it's a safer and more cheaper bet than if we were to go to a housing agent and get one at 2K min. As for police, how it works here in my country is that it'll just be a dispute among family members, so not much we can do.